I met the girl of my dreams, but she wasn't who I thought she was. It all started at a wedding I wasn't even supposed to attend. I was there as a last-minute +1 for my friend Jason, whose cousin bailed on him the day before. The reception was held at a vineyard just outside Napa. Elegant, expensive, and full of people I didn't know. I almost declined. I hate small talk, I hate dancing, and I hate pretending to care about the lives of strangers. But Jason begged me, and I had nothing better to do that weekend. I arrived 10 minutes late. The ceremony had already started, and I slipped into a seat at the back, next to a woman in a green dress. She didn't look at me, just kept her eyes on the couple at the altar. After the vows, during the awkward shuffle to the reception area, she finally turned to me. "+1?" she asked, her tone half mocking, half friendly. "Yeah," I said, chuckling. "Can you tell?" She smiled. "I'm Chloe. I'm here solo. No pressure to fake a love story." We sat at the same table. She was sharp, quick-witted, and effortlessly magnetic. We talked about everything: travel, books, podcasts, even our favorite sandwiches. Her laugh made me forget how much I usually hate events like this. She wasn't just beautiful, she was easy to be around, and rare. After dinner and a couple glasses of wine, we drifted out onto the balcony, overlooking the vineyard. The sun had dipped just behind the hills, casting everything in that warm golden glow that looks fake in Instagram filters. "I hate weddings," she said suddenly. "Same," I replied. "Too much pressure to look like your life's perfect." Chloe glanced at me, then looked away. "Exactly." We stood in silence for a moment. Then she turned to me and asked, "Do you want to get out of here?" We ended up walking for over an hour. Not really going anywhere, just talking, laughing, stopping now and then to look at the stars or share stories. She didn't mention her last name. I didn't ask. It felt like we were in our own bubble. By the time we made it back to the venue parking lot, most of the guests had left. Jason had texted me 5 times. I ignored all of them. Before we said goodbye, she reached into her clutch and pulled out a napkin. She scribbled something on it. "My number. But you have to promise not to Google me." I laughed. "Why not?" "Because I want to be just a girl you met at a wedding, not anything else." I nodded. "Deal." That night, I lay in bed staring at my ceiling, napkin in hand. I hadn't felt that electric in years, maybe ever. We texted the next morning, and the next, and the next. A week later, we went out for tacos. Then to the farmer's market. Then to the beach at night, where she brought a blanket and 2 flasks of whiskey. She was full of contradictions: elegant but goofy, smart but silly, confident but guarded. Every time I thought I figured her out, she'd surprise me. And I loved that. But there was something off. Not much. Just a flicker of hesitation in her voice sometimes. A way she'd change the subject when I asked about her job or her family. I told myself it didn't matter. Everyone has their secrets. But some secrets are bigger than others. And hers? Hers was going to wreck everything. The first time something really felt wrong was 3 weeks in. We were at her place for the first time. A small but tastefully decorated apartment in San Francisco's Mission District. Plants in every corner. Mismatched mugs, stacks of vinyl, a cat that didn't like me. Chloe was making pasta, barefoot in an oversized hoodie, and it felt unreal, like a movie. Too perfect. While she was in the kitchen, her phone buzzed on the coffee table. I didn't mean to look, I swear, but I saw the preview flash. A message from someone named Marcus. It read, "You ghosting again? I thought we talked about this." She returned a second later, humming, stirring something in a saucepan. I tried to play it cool. "Who's Marcus?" She froze for half a second, too short for anyone else to notice, maybe. But I caught it. "Old friend," she said. "From New York." Sounds annoyed. She shrugged. "He's dramatic. It's nothing." I nodded, even smiled, but the seed was planted. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I didn't want to be that guy, the suspicious, jealous type, but something about the way she brushed it off felt fake. Performed. The following weekend, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed again. And yeah, I know. I shouldn't have, but I did. I picked it up. No passcode. Bold. The message was from Marcus again. "You can't keep running away from it. You know that." That was it. Just one line. But it hit me like a gut punch. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I started watching more closely, noticing little inconsistencies in her stories. Her job in marketing that never seemed to involve actual work. Her apartment, which had no signs of a lease or bills. The expensive art on the walls, she claimed, was thrifted. The weekend she said she went to visit a friend in LA, but came back with a wristband from a tech conference in Chicago. None of it added up, but when I asked, she'd smile, change the subject, or shut down completely. Then one night, I made a mistake. I was having drinks with Jason. I told him about Chloe. Not everything, just the good parts. But I mentioned her name. He blinked. Chloe, he said. From the wedding? Yeah. Why? Jason looked suddenly uncomfortable. Dude, Chloe wasn't on the guest list. I laughed. What do you mean? I mean, I know everyone who was invited. That seat you sat in? It wasn't reserved. You guys sat in the back row, right? Yeah? Yeah, man. That whole row was empty. She wasn't supposed to be there. I left the bar immediately. I texted her. No response. I called straight to voicemail. The next morning, her number was disconnected. I drove to her apartment. Someone else answered the door. I'm subletting, the girl said. The last tenant left last week. Chloe had vanished, and I didn't even know her last name. I spiraled for a few days. Who was she? What did she want from me? Had she been scamming me? Why pretend to be a wedding guest? Was Marcus someone she owed money to? An ex? A handler? Everything felt like a joke I wasn't in on. Then, 5 days later, I got an email. The subject line was blank. The sender? No reply address. No name. The message? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. You were never part of the plan. Attached was a photo. Me and Chloe, on the balcony at the vineyard, laughing. And behind us, in the distance, a man, watching. Same man I saw in 2 of her Instagram photos. The one I never thought to ask about. I stared at the photo for what must have been 20 minutes. The man in the background, he wasn't close. He wasn't even fully in focus. But once you noticed him, it was impossible to unsee. He stood at the edge of the vineyard's overlook, dressed in dark clothing, arms crossed, staring directly at us. The worst part? I recognized him. Barely, but I did. He'd appeared in 2 of Chloe's Instagram stories, once blurry, sitting at a cafe behind her. Another time, walking 10 paces behind in a crowded market. At the time, I thought it was coincidence. Now, I wasn't so sure. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the message. You were never part of the plan. What plan? I considered going to the police. But what do I say? That a woman I dated under false pretenses left me a creepy message in a photo? They'd laugh me out of the station. So instead, I tried to trace the photo. I dragged it into a reverse image search. Nothing. I looked at the metadata. Stripped. Whoever sent it knew what they were doing. I tried calling Jason, maybe someone from the wedding saw something, but he was out of town. I didn't want to loop in anyone else. I was already in deep, and I didn't even know what this was yet. The next day, I got another email. Do not try to find me. It's not safe. For either of us, no greeting, no sign-off, no reply possible. But attached was another photo. This time, it was Chloe, standing at what looked like a train station. Backpack slung over one shoulder, looking away from the camera. On the wall behind her was a sign in Polish. I zoomed in. The station name was Warszawa Wschodnia. She was in Warsaw, or had been. I started piecing together timelines. The weekend she went to La, there had been a direct flight from SAFO to Warsaw. The conference wristband? Possibly a cover. But why the deception? I did what any desperate idiot would do. I posted anonymously on a travel forum. Looking for a woman last seen in Warsaw. American. Might be in danger. Possibly being followed. A few hours later, someone messaged me privately. This wouldn't be about the woman from the hotel on Kruja Street, would it? I froze. We exchanged a few messages. The person, a Canadian tourist, said they'd seen a woman matching Chloe's description arguing with a man outside a small boutique hotel. He got a license plate. I paid him $50 through Venmo for a photo. The plate, registered in Ukraine. Now I was way out of my depth. I contacted a private investigator. Don't ask how I afforded it, I didn't. I maxed out one of my cards and told myself it would be worth it. The PI didn't promise much, but he had a contact in Europe who owed him a favor. He agreed to ask around. 2 days later, I got a call. Your girl? He said. She's not who you think. Meaning there's a reason she didn't want you to Google her. She's involved with people. Dangerous ones. From what I can tell, she was part of some kind of underground ring moving between cities. Not trafficking, at least not that we could tell. But smuggling? Fraud? Maybe worse. My mouth went dry. And the guy in the photo? Not her boyfriend. Not even close. We think he's surveillance. Might be law enforcement. Might not. What should I do? There was a pause. Forget her. She's not coming back. And if she does, you don't want her to. I didn't respond right away. I needed air. I walked for an hour, maybe 2. Ended up sitting on the curb in front of a Walgreens, staring at my phone. I still had the napkin with her number, the one she gave me the night we met. It was crumpled, faded from my wallet, but still legible. Something hit me then. Something I should have seen. The digits were 1 short. She'd never meant for me to call her. After the call with the private investigator, I tried to let it go. I really did. I deleted our texts, archived her photos, hid the napkin in a drawer, told myself I was done. But obsession doesn't go away just because you want it to. The more I tried to move on, the more I found myself thinking about her laugh. The way she'd quote movies. How she never answered a question directly. Every moment I replayed had a new meaning now. Like rewatching a movie. After a twist and Dingio noticed the clues you missed. I kept coming back to the same question. Why me? If she was some kind of con artist or operative, why choose a nobody like me? That's when I made a new discovery. I remembered her mentioning she'd once lived in Seattle. It was brief. In passing, she'd said something like, "I tried the whole rainy city life." At the time, I thought it was just small talk. Now I wasn't so sure. I dug through my email for a photo I had sent her of my dog, found it, and realized she'd responded with a picture of herself holding a coffee cup. The cup had a logo on it, Bean Break. I looked it up. Local cafe chain. Only 3 locations. 1 in Seattle. I called the shop and made up a story. Said I was working on a customer loyalty project and needed help identifying patrons for a survey. The manager didn't bite, but he gave me a date the last time a receipt was issued for someone named C. Grant. That was the name on her cup. I booked a flight that night. Seattle was cold and gray. I didn't have a plan, just an address and a gut feeling. I went to the Bean Break on Capitol Hill and asked the barista if she recognized Chloe. She narrowed her eyes, then nodded slowly. She used to come in every Sunday. Vanilla latte, no foam. When was the last time you saw her? Month ago. Maybe more. She always sat in the back, headphones in, hoodie up. Did she ever talk to anyone? The barista shrugged. Sometimes a guy in a navy coat. Older. Kind of quiet. That narrowed it down to half of Seattle. I waited for hours, hoping she might walk in. She didn't. That night, I checked into a cheap motel and scrolled through the last photo again, the one from Warsaw. I zoomed in on her wrist. A bracelet. I'd missed it before. It had a small gold charm in the shape of a fox. The next morning, I returned to the cafe and showed the barista the photo. "Did you ever see her wearing this?" She nodded. "Yeah, she wore that a lot." "Do you know where she got it?" "No idea. But she lost it once. Made a huge fuss. Said it was the only thing she had left from her brother. That was new. She'd never mentioned a brother. I dug around online. Forums, old social media posts, anything. I searched for Chloe Grant Seattle brother fox bracelet. Eventually I hit something. A 5-year-old blog post from a woman who ran a grief support group. She had written about a young woman named Chloe G, who attended one session, spoke about losing her brother to suicide, and then vanished. I contacted the author. She replied within hours. I remember her. Quiet, guarded. She left halfway through the meeting. I asked if Chloe ever mentioned her brother's name. She did. Daniel. Armed with that, I searched obituaries. Found one. Daniel Grant, age 25, deceased 2017. Cause of death: overdose. Survived by his sister, Chloe Grant. There was a photo. It was her. No question. Except this time, she didn't look like the Chloe I knew. Her hair was longer. No makeup. Eyes tired. Shoulders slumped. She looked real. I couldn't stop staring, and I realized something. She hadn't been playing me. Not completely. There was truth underneath it all, and I was going to find out what it was. I returned to San Francisco 2 days later. No sign of Chloe in Seattle. No more emails. Just the same question echoing in my head. What was I to her? Back home, I finally gave in and called Jason again. "Man, you okay?" he asked. "You've been off the radar. Do you remember Chloe?" He paused. "Yeah, she ghosted you, right?" I hesitated. "There's more to it." I told him everything. The fake wedding seat, the disappearing act, the Warsaw photo, the P's warning. He didn't interrupt once, just listened. At the end, he whistled. That's either the most elaborate scam ever, or what? Or you meant something to her. A week later, I got a letter. An actual physical letter. No return address. Postmarked in Boston. The handwriting on the envelope was familiar. Inside was a single sheet of paper. I didn't know how to say goodbye, so I didn't. You were the first real thing I had in years. I didn't plan on meeting you not like that. I was hiding from something. Someone. Maybe from myself. I know you deserve answers, so here's one. I lied. But not about everything. My name is Chloe. I did lose my brother. I was never supposed to be at that wedding, but I saw you, and I wanted to believe I could be someone else, someone normal. I'm sorry I made you a part of it. You made me feel like I was a person again. That's all I ever wanted. Please don't look for me. Please live your life. And remember me as the version you met, not the one who ran. There was no signature, but there didn't need to be. I folded the letter slowly, hands shaking. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just sat there, thinking. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel lost. Just sad. But in a real way. A way that made sense. Update 3 months later. A few people reached out asking how I'm doing. Truthfully, I'm okay. I haven't heard from her again, and I haven't tried to find her. But I did something else. I went back to the vineyard, sat in that same chair, watched the sunset. And I felt peace, because sometimes people come into your life like a storm, sudden, messy, destructive. But after the clouds part, what you're left with is clarity. Chloe was never mine to keep, but I'm grateful she was ever real at all. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.